Good morning. It's time for Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hayes.
I'm Dick Olson. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Dick. And, here we go into the summer season, but we still got some stuff we can talk about. The Wisconsin Basketball Coaches Association had their boys and girls all-star games last week. And first of all, on the girls' side, Division 5, it was the South beating the North 79-68. Owen Withy's Kendall Weiler had 14 points.
Yeah, she had a great game. I haven't heard if she's doing anything for college or not. I haven't heard anything there. No. But she's an excellent three-sport star, volleyball, basketball, and also a state competitor at track this year too. So.
All right, in Division 4, the South jumped out to a big lead at halftime and went on to win 77-51. Interesting, Neillsville Sydney Subke was playing for the South team.
Yeah, I suppose it depends, But, you look at where their sectional was. Their sectional did go south.
Right, yeah.
So maybe that comes into play a little bit. And we'll touch on this a little bit more, but that's the last year of that. They're going back to the north next year. So
10 points for Sydney in that game for the South. Division 3 South All-Stars cruised to a 79-51 win over the North. And that was in Division 3. Division 2 and Division 1 had the similar scores, 72-59, with the North beating the South in both those games.
Okay. Yeah, North did a nice job here. But, again, geographically, you don't know where all these kids come from, especially in D1 and D2, because we do not have we have a real lack of those schools on our end of the state.
Yep.
So I believe one of the, I forget if it was a girl or a boy, one of the top scorers for the North in D2 was from Slinger, which is 10 miles north of Milwaukee.
Right. Yeah. All right, the boys had their all-star games last week on Thursday, and in Division 5, it was a big 38-point outburst in the fourth quarter. And the Division 5 white team beat the black team 105-95. There were a lot of points scored in those games.
Well, these kids, it's like a pickup game for them at the end. And, defense really doesn't come into play probably too much. And I'm sure the coaches let them pretty much have at it. So
yeah, it's kind of it's an all-star game, so you're trying to show off a little bit.
It's fun, and the real reason they're raising a lot of money for a good cause, and the kids are there to have fun, and you got the best of the best there too, Larry.
Yeah, right.
So.
Yep. In Division 4, the white team beat the black team 106-86. Division 3, it was the white team the black team over the white team 119-82. They led from start to finish in that one. Division 2, the black team rallied from a halftime deficit to win 109-90. And in Division 1, it was the white team beating the black team 96-93, so a close game there. Brooks Hinson of Marshfield had 11 points for the white team, and Jaden Owie from Stevens Point had 12 for the black team.
Brooks finishing his career.
Yeah.
Great career. All-time leading scorer at Marshfield Senior High. So.
Yeah, good for him.
Yep.
One other thing here in high school sports, the Central Wisconsin, I should see, will be well represented in the USA Clay Target Championships in Mason, Michigan. And those are coming up next weekend. There are 3 individuals from Neillsville competing, Hoyt Martin, Lauren Reddig, and Lorelei Strunzi. Okay. Loyal has a team there coached by Heather Luchterhan, and Thorpe also has a team there coached by Stephanie Kotecki.
Okay, wow. It's a very growing sport.
It is. A lot of kids are involved.
I mean, there's a zillion kids in state. I mean, all these kids who love to hunt and aren't really part of the sport, they are actually part of a school sport now.
Right,
so,
yes.
And it is probably growing 100 times faster than anything they ever imagined. I think.
And a lot of people really don't even know that that's even out there.
Yeah, but I know they've had very successful out here at the Neillsville Gun Club. Brendan Hensiak has been one of the guys behind it, but they have had a lot of kids from Greenwood, Granton, and Neillsville.
Yeah,
and they have several teams, I believe, in fact. So,
and now 3 of them are going to be representing Neillsville at the USA Clay Target Championships in Mason, Michigan next weekend. All right, we touched on it a little bit last week. We were kind of a little bit confused as to
the WIA.
WIA had their Board of Control meeting last week, and they kind of changed some things, and the main one was in wrestling.
Yeah, in wrestling, and I quite honestly, and we've talked about. I haven't talked to anybody.
No, I haven't either,
and I don't know the reason for it or whatever. But in boys wrestling, there will no longer be a regional setup. All guys will be going right into sectional qualifying. So a sectional qualifier. There will be 8 sectionals, I believe, in D1 and 4 and 4. So it's going to be a long day, really, when you think about it. And maybe there'll have to be 2-dayers. I don't know. But
so I guess the big question is how they qualify for sectionals.
They don't. You're automatically. It's like going into regionals. You're automatically in.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
okay.
And that's where I have a little bit of a problem with Larry. I mean, to me, it always meant a lot when you told said a kid was a sectional qualifier. To me, that meant a lot.
Right.
Now they're going right into sectionals. I don't get that. But the regionals are getting. They went to the super regionals a few years ago.
Yep.
And I thought that was a solution. Obviously, they didn't. So, but I think one of the biggest things they're trying to get rid of is that Tuesday night team sectional.
Right.
The teams wrestle at regionals on Saturday. And I know that, I believe when in 2022, Nielsville had the regional winning champion. Mm-hmm. Well, they had to go over to Somerset on Tuesday night. No biggie. But they had 3 or 4 kids who couldn't make weight. It was just impossible and it wasn't just anybody. It was like Luke Dukes couldn't make weight to be in the team section.
Oh, yeah, right.
And they had 2 or 3 kids that had to sit out because the kids could not make weight that night. And maybe that helped. Maybe that's part of it or whatever. But anyway, it sounds to me like they're being expanded from the sectional, being expanded the next Saturday in a team sectional then.
Okay, all right.
So, and then from there on, the Saturday after will be the state individual, and the Saturday after that will be the team state.
So instead of the regional Saturday, that will be a sectional
Saturday.
Okay,
yep.
And then the team sectional.
And then the next one will be the team sectional Saturday.
Okay, all right. So they eliminate the Tuesday in there.
Now, on the other hand, the girls, they've never had a regional before. Now they are going to have regionals.
Okay.
And I think that shows you the growing of the girls wrestling.
Right.
Now they are going to have 4 regionals per sectional. Just what the boys always had. So, and except in D1, but
they don't have a team section.
No, they don't have a team set, and they only have 1 class too. So,
okay.
Yeah, they only have 1 division, so they haven't grown quite that far yet.
Right,
so,
right.
But they are at a point, someday they're going to have to think about if it keeps growing that
right.
D1, D2. But we'll see. It's interesting.
And a lot of the teams in boys wrestling are a lot of co-ops.
A lot of co-ops, especially in D2 and D3.
Yeah.
So it's. You look around central Wisconsin. There's very few teams that have a name that isn't hyphenated.
Right.
I mean, and the one that always stands out to me is Cadott.
Yeah.
And Cadott has always said, and I've talked to Josh Spaeth on this a couple of times, they do not want to be a part of a co-op. Oh. They want to be a standalone program.
Wow.
And that's pretty good on their part, and they've done really well doing it.
It's one of the few in wrestling in the smaller schools.
Yeah, and they're one. Edgar Marathon, they had a Stratford, of course, so it's there are quite a few else, and you get to the western part of the state, they do pretty good there too. But central Wisconsin, it seems like it's co-op heaven over in here. So
yeah, well, you look at the Cloverbell Conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
It used to have how many teams, and now
and there again, the only one that isn't a co-op is Cadott.
Right.
And
there's some that are 2 and 3 schools.
Yeah, yep. So
not just 2.
Yep. So.
All right, so maybe we confused you more on that.
Yeah,
we're hoping to get somebody from the WIA.
Yeah, hopefully, because
at some point,
I guess we also should say that for the how many times now they shot down the shot clock. So.
Yes, shot clock, and something else.
Yeah,
I believe was terminated as well.
Yeah, Wisconsin, and quite honestly,
expanding the tournament.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was going to be
8 teams.
8 teams all the way around. Yeah, and we talked all the way to Wausau last week how that was going to happen.
Yeah. Well, my son said that most of the states around Wisconsin already have shot clocks and 8 teams in the tournament.
Yeah, Wisconsin is kind of a dinosaur, and I don't know if it's because of all the small school. I don't know. I'm sure the big schools that play fast pace would love to have it.
And there are schools that have the shot clock
absolutely
already installed, but don't use it.
Yep. And it's Wisconsin was very slow to add the third referee. It just seems they're a little slower doing things.
Yeah.
I eventually think someday there will be a shot clock, but I don't know when. I don't see it coming again.
And I could see some teams that probably will not like a shot clock.
Absolutely. Well, any team coached by John Geyer doesn't want a shot clock.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Yep.
And there's a few coaches like that.
Yeah.
So
they like that slow pace.
Absolutely. So.
All right, getting into some baseball. Of course, Legion baseball, big around the area. Marshfield Senior Legion, they're really playing
doing really well. And a lot of local flavor over there. Auburndale, Pittsville, Bryce Erickson from Nielsville on the team. So doing very well over there this year. So
They are at Plover tonight, and that game, by the way, is on 92.3 FM, WOSQ, starting at 7:30 tonight. So if you want to hear some good baseball, tune in for that.
It's pretty interesting. We had a chance to see their junior team play here at Neilsville, and it's a solid program there too. So, and these kids get a lot of playing time in the summer. So,
and we were at, of course, Athletic Park last week for Two Guys on Sports and talking about how women's softball is enabling girls to go in or young ladies to go into softball after they graduate. And that's what these senior legions and what we're going to talk about here next with the Chapparals is helping baseball players.
Keeps a bat in their hand. So
yeah.
So, and I was surprised that some of the kids on the roster. Well, here was a Bryce Erickson who did not play in college, but came back to play this summer. He loves the game, and he's very savvy, and he fits right in the middle of that Legion program over there.
And there's a chance for him to play.
Absolutely, and then. If he wants to continue playing, he can go to what we're going to talk about next.
Yes,
so.
Take a next step up to the Chapparals, who are going to talk about next. The Marshfield Chapparal baseball team, they are in action. They have kind of seen a few rainouts here.
Yeah, absolutely. I said
the first part of the season.
Yeah, it sounded like Luke Wirtz just really is really having a heck of a time, especially during the week.
Right.
And you look at their schedule, Larry. I mean, they play on the weekend, but they only they play a couple times a week and really having trouble getting a field going. And we've seen where Hackman Field does not handle rain very well over there. So.
Well, Gene Delisio had a chance to talk to Marshfield Chapparal manager Luke Wirtz recently, and he talks about how the season's gone so far and how his team looks this year.
Things are going all right so far. We've gotten up to kind of a slow start in conference play at least, but we're at 500 right now. We're 3-3. I think we're somewhere like 2-2 in conference. Also, lost a couple close games. Rhinelander this weekend, 15-18 is a heck of a baseball score, and then we've also lost games 5-6 to a tough Rapids team on the road. And so we're trying to rebound. We're trying to get in a flow. Early season here, we've had some cancellations, especially this week with all the rain. So we're just trying to get some games in, kind of find our flow a little bit again on the defensive side and on the offensive side.
Yeah, your schedule certainly has been victimized the last week or so by some rainouts. How does it affect your plans for your ball club when you go through some rainouts like that?
The guys do a pretty good job of keeping themselves ready to play, but when you're trying as an adult men's baseball team, trying to coordinate guys' schedules so that they're there, especially the pitching side of things, making sure, we've got 3 games this week, here's the guys that can pitch this, and this day. It definitely throws a little wrench in your plans because there's guys that want to pitch that may not get a chance to for an extended period of time. You get 2 weeks between starts, you kind of can get a little rusty. You have to shake off the start. So it'll be interesting coming up here with some of our rescheduled games. We're going to have a lot of games here, I'm thinking, in the course of a week. So guys are going to have to take care of themselves and just keep themselves ready to play.
Can you tell us about some of the gentlemen on your team this year and where they fit in for you?
Yeah, we have quite a few returning ball players from last year and a couple old faces that have moved back to the area that are playing again, and then we've got a couple of new guys. Some of the returning players that played a lot for us in the past years. Cole Hediger does a lot of pitching on the mound. Logan Homolka, a guy from Marshfield, he's played all over. He's played some infield, outfield, but this year he's turned into one of our top pitchers. So it's good to see him out there, and he also hits the middle of the order. Riley Ballman from Stratford, man center field just about every game for us. He's great out there. There's just so many guys that are returning. Colin DeBoer playing outfield, infield for us. Sean O'Connell, who played probably 4 years with the Chaps prior to moving away. Well, he's moved back into the area, and he came back to play this year, which is great to see for our Chaps family here. And, there's just so many guys. Isaiah Byrell, he's probably year 5, maybe even 6 with us. He mans the infield. He's moved around shortstop, but he's a guy that can play all over. So we have a lot of versatility on the team, good amount of team speed, a lot of experienced ball players, and then it's always good to see some of the new faces also.
Quite a contrast between what you're doing, and we talk a lot, of course, with Josh Metz, the Legion coach, and he's got new people every year. And even though this year not so much, but most every year the Legion teams change. But you in this position where you've got so many returners year after year, how does that help you as a manager every season?
It just really, you know what you're going to come in with. A lot of times I know from my Legion experiences, you get a new guy, you don't know how much you can trust him or where he's going to play. But our guys, you kind of know coming into the year, this guy can play here, this guy can play here. It becomes a lot easier to put together a lineup because you know what to expect, which makes life on a manager a lot easier. Just kind of being able to be like, okay, well, we have these guys are saying they're going to be here tonight. Here's what our lineup's probably going to look like because you know where they're going to hit, you know where they're going to play. So it definitely eases the stress as a manager a little bit, just knowing a lot about the guys when they're coming back. And I think another thing it does, when you get a high school team together like that in the summer from different areas all coming to play together, there's a lot with the team bonding aspect. We have a good relationship as a team. A lot of these guys, returning guys, we have a lot of fun playing together. In a Legion like that, you get kind of thrown together, some different guys, and it takes a little time to mix and bond, but once they do, everything goes well after that. But yeah, as a manager for the Chaps, I couldn't ask for a better squad of guys returning year after year.
That's manager Luke Wirtz of the Marshfield Chapparals, and you see, here's some of those names. Cole Hediger, there's a blast from the past.
Class of 20. I seen him at his 50-year class reunion last year. I mean, he graduated 2019. He's still playing ball. So, and you look at Luke Wirtz, Larry. This is his 12th year overall with the Chaparrals.
Oh, really?
12th year, sixth as manager. So
okay.
And another guy, Jason Kurth, has put a lot of time in over there too.
Yeah,
so
playing, and I see coach's third.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's and the way that sounded to me, they a real family atmosphere there. They have a lot of the same guys coming back all the time.
Yeah, a lot of repeat names.
Yeah, so
whereas the Legion teams,
you run out of age there.
Yeah,
so.
there's turnover on those.
But then teams like the Chaparrals, and then is it the River Rats in Pittsville, and there's a lot of city baseball. Whittlesea, yeah. Whittlesea. Who else you got? Oh, Minocqua, Abbotsford has been a long time baseball program up there.
Yep.
Pittsville strong. Rapids, so there's a lot of chances to keep playing baseball in this area.
And there's also another one that features some of the older players in the area, the Chippewa River Baseball League.
Yes, absolutely.
Where you have the likes of the Osseo Merchants.
Yeah.
And Nolan Matson of Neilsville is going to be be in the All-Star game as a catcher.
Yep.
And that is this Sunday. That's the 67th All-Star game for that league.
And that's an area that's been built around the Eau Claire Cavaliers, the Eau Claire Bears. But then you go up and down 53, and just about every small town has a baseball team.
Yeah.
So,
it's always been big.
Yeah.
Well,
I believe
67th year.
Yeah, I believe they have a North and South division too.
They could.
Yep.
I think they do. I think you're right.
Because I think Whitehall is in it, and on the southern end, Osseo. Yeah, and we've seen these fields too, tremendous fields that they play on too. So
yeah, we were over in Whitehall. Yeah, nice field over there.
Yeah, and of course Osseo doesn't take a second seat to anybody.
No, Merchant or the
Osseo Merchants.
Yes,
but the Matson boys, Noel and Neil, have been a longtime fixture over on that Osseo Merchants team. So,
All right, so there you go. Talking a little baseball there, local flavor, and takes us to. Where are they now on the program?
Okay, Larry, I'm going over to Marshfield, Columbus, and I'm going to talk about Christian Payant. And Christian is a 2015 graduate of Marshfield Columbus High School. In the fall, Christian was a 4-year letter winner on the Columbus soccer team. His freshman year, the Dons were 11-10. They were regional champs, losing in the sectional finals to Wausau Newman. Christian had 3 goals and 8 assists on the season. His sophomore year, Columbus was 3-12, losing in the regionals to Aquinas. Christian had 6 goals and 14 assists on the year and was named second-team all-conference in the Mid-State Conference. His junior year, the Dons were 12-6-1. They were regional champs, losing in the sectional semis to Pacelli. Christian had 10 goals and 16 assists on the season and was named first-team all-conference. His senior year, the Dons were 15-5-3. They were Mid-State Conference champs and regional champs, losing in the sectional semis to Barron. Christian had 18 goals and 12 assists on the season and was named first-team all-conference. In the winter, Christian was a 3-year letter winner on the Columbus boys basketball team. His sophomore year, the Dons were 18-7, losing in the regional finals to Cochrane Fountain City. Christian averaged 3 points per game. His junior year, the Dons were 20-6. They were Clover Belt East and regional champs, losing in the sectional semis to Wausau Newman. Christian averaged 3 points per game. His senior year, Columbus was 15-9, losing in the regionals to Pittsville. Christian averaged 5 points per game. In the spring, Christian was a 4-year letter winner on the Columbus track team. His freshman year, he was a sectional qualifier in the 300-meter hurdles. His sophomore year, he was a sectional qualifier in the 300-meter hurdles and also ran a leg on the Don's 4x4 sectional qualifying relay team. His junior year, he was a member of the Don's state qualifying 4x800 relay team, and he also ran a leg on the Columbus sectional qualifying 4x400 relay team, and also was a sectional qualifier in the 300-meter hurdles. His senior year, he was a state qualifier in the 300-meter hurdles, where he would finish second at the state meet to Morgan Malm of Loyal, who he had chased all season. He also ran legs on the Don state qualifying 4x200 relay team and the 4x800 relay team. After graduation, Christian enrolled at Clark University in Dubuque, Iowa. His freshman year, the Crusaders were 9-9. Christian had 1 goal and 3 assists on the season. His sophomore year, Clark was 1-15-1 on the season. Christian had 1 goal and 5 assists on the season. His junior year, the Crusaders were 2-15. Christian had 2 goals and 5 assists on the season. His senior year, Clark was 2-15 on the season. Christian had 3 goals and 7 assists on the season. He was honorable mention selection on the Heart of America Athletic Conference All-Conference team, and he was also selected to the All-Conference Academic First Team. Christian graduated in 2019 from Clark University with a bachelor's degree in psychology. He then enrolled at Colorado State University and earned his master's degree in mental health counseling in 2021. Today, Christian is employed with Wellness Homes of Chicago as a licensed professional addiction counselor. Christian resides in the Chicago area. Christian Pyatt, Larry.
Yeah, I remember that name.
Yep.
Yeah. Good soccer player.
Oh, boy, yes.
Wow.
Pretty good track head, too. You know,
Yeah. Mason Malm, I remember.
Morgan.
Or Morgan, yeah.
But Mason was his brother. But
yeah.
They
were good track
They dominated the hurdles.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did back in the day. All right, where are they now here on the show? 2 guys on sports here on this Thursday morning. Well, the New York Knicks have a new coach.
Yeah, Mike Brown.
Mike Brown.
Yeah, his fourth, is that third or fourth team? He's has been fourth team as a head coach, but he's done a lot of. He was with Kerr at Golden State on the bench, and then also Popovich at San Antonio. So he learned his lessons pretty well.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but he was with Cleveland, I believe, in Sacramento, and
a
few others.
So he's the new Knicks head coach. Free agency. Wow, there was a lot of stuff going on earlier this week.
I'll tell you what, the Bucks don't usually get that much attention the first day.
No.
I'll tell you what, I was kind of surprised when they waived Damian Lillard and just said, "Here, take your $113 million."
Well, and there's a lot of people that are saying that might come and bite them in the.
Yeah, we'll see.
But I thought they picked up a pretty good guy.
I think they let Brook Lopez go. Brook Lopez went to the Clippers, 2 years, $18 million. But and nothing against Brook Lopez, he did great in Milwaukee. But I thought they needed an upgraded center, and I think Miles Turner from the Pacers really gives them that.
Now the question is, of course, everybody's talking about Giannis.
Yeah.
And I guess he wasn't happy that they let Damian Lillard go, but Lillard's not going to play next year.
No, he's not.
And what's he going to look like when he comes back?
I believe he's 34 now.
No, older than that. I think he's 38.
Okay. So, by the time he comes back, he's going to be almost 40, Larry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and off of an Achilles.
A bad Achilles one, too.
Which is always hard to come back
that is not a basketball injury. You don't see a lot of guys coming back, especially not at the same level.
Right,
So.
Yeah.
And I think, if you're Giannis, you got to realize that it's a business decision. They've got to move on, So the franchise could not wait. And I think getting Miles Turner, it did that. And then also bring back Bobby Portis and Gary Trent, Prince, Porter, Jr., Sims.
Yeah.
I think they upgraded athletically. They let Pat Connaughton go.
I was surprised on that.
But I think they needed salary cap room.
Yeah.
So you trade him away, and for a guy he's not going to even probably see Milwaukee. He's probably going to be waived and
Possibly Misic.
Yeah, right. So, but we should also talk a little bit, Larry, about the Bucks draft pick. 47. Bogojub Markovic, and he played with Mega Baskets overseas. And the reason I bring that up, that is where Nikola Josic trained also. So, maybe the guy is definitely a project. I mean, he's 6'11", 190.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's need a little meat on his bones.
Yeah, right. But I think, they see it maybe another Giannis down the line. That's kind of the size Giannis came in.
Yeah,
too.
he wasn't very big.
No, he was skinny as a
Yes, he
rail.
was.
So,
Yeah.
but we had talked about this at a couple publications had Tanji going to the Bucks at 40.
Yeah.
He went 53, so
Yeah.
they were right on the button with him. So
Yeah, right.
he's going out to Utah. So,
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so.
All right. So, a lot of news with the Bucks earlier this week.
Yeah, I was going to say, Gilgeous Alexander, 4 years, $285 million, $71 million a year up at OKC, and then LeBron James picked up his 25-26 option of $52.6 million.
Yeah.
But there's questions whether he wants to stay with the Lakers, but I think that's kind of bold because as long as his kid is there, I think he'll stay there. So. And then now they have Luka Doncic too. So,
Yeah.
So
I just don't know if that's enough to get a title there, but
no,
the West is
absolutely
tough.
not. Absolutely, you look what between those two, what they eat up a salary cap right there. So not much to add on to. So
No.
So
Wimbledon going on right now, and Carlos Alcaraz won again. He's in the third round, and at age 22, he became the third man in tennis history to win 20 or more matches at both the French Open and Wimbledon before his 23rd birthday.
Isn't it funny? He's doing fine, but the women's seeds just Coco Gauff, number 3. She was 2, number 3. They both fell by the wayside in their first match.
Yeah.
She won the French Open, but in their last 2 tournaments now, she's been knocked out in the first round. So I don't know what's going on there. So
Yeah, I don't know.
So
Well, by the way, Alcaraz, being that winning 20 or more matches at both of those, the others are Bjorn Borg and Rafael Nadal. So
pretty good company.
pretty good
there.
company. Well, he's been in pretty good company since he came in.
He's taken it by storm. He kind of reminds you. He doesn't look like either one of them, but I think his intensity and stuff. He reminds me a lot of Borg that way.
Yeah,
so.
Very hot over there at Wimbledon.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least it was for the first few
and
days.
then you're playing on grass to boot, so it's better than playing on red clay, believe me.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Let's see what else. Okay. I don't know if you realize that, but Tuesday, Larry, was July 1st, or Bobby Bonilla Day. So, and I had Bobby in Bobby Bonilla came to in Major League Baseball in '86 with the White Sox, and then in '87 he went to Pittsburgh and really became a player.
Right.
He signed a free agent contract with the Mets in '92 and a lot of deferred money there. So
now, what was that? Like a 40-year contract or something?
It was something. But he only lasted 2-3 years in New York, because he was at Baltimore in '95, and of course they won the ALCS. They were in the ALCS that year, and then in '97 he was a member of the Florida Marlins. They won the World Series that year.
Okay.
And then his last team, he was with St. Louis in 2001. So
that was the last time he played.
Yep. And then these deferred payments started in 2011, $1.19 million till 2035.
He'll be 72.
Yeah.
Can you imagine every year?
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. You still get $1 million.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who was
in
charge of that contract.
I'd like to see who wrote that contract.
Wow.
I'll tell you what. I think Bobby Bonilla had one of the best agents ever.
Oh, man.
But then, you start reading and you go into Google. There's a lot of teams paying a lot of deferred money. But this is the one everybody knows about.
Well, yeah, but
because it did.
But that much deferred money?
Yeah, the contract was signed in 1992.
Right.
And it's going to end in 2035. There's some genius who wrote that. So.
Yeah, that one I just don't get.
So, Brewers playing very well.
Yeah.
Up to, I believe, 11 games, over 500, only a couple games behind. And it's just starting to get pretty good order in there.
Who was the guy that Woodruff?
Yeah,
he's talking about coming back.
Yeah.
Now the question is, who are they going to take off the roster?
I think it's going to be Chad Patrick is going to go. He pitched well in his last, but boy, I'll tell you what, he's been struggling. It seems like it's not going to be Mizorowski. It's not going to be Peralta. Quinn, is it Priester? He's pitching very well. Quintana, yeah. So I think Chad Patrick might be the odd guy out. So.
Okay.
And we'll see.
There was talk about maybe putting him in the bullpen.
Yeah.
And then taking somebody from the bullpen and sending him down.
Or else you could use him as an opener, pitching 3-4 innings and splitting. Who knows?
That's the thing with their staff is pretty good.
Yeah, not bad
right now.
It's getting better in their bullpen. They've got enough guys in the bullpen, and we'll see. But they're starting to score some runs. So Joey Ortiz, I believe he's hit 5 home runs in the last couple of weeks. Hit a grand slam on Wednesday. So,
Well, 4th of July this week.
Everybody be safe.
Happy
please.
4th of July.
Yes.
Enjoy the fireworks.
Yep. I believe it's Friday night here at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, most of them are Friday night.
Yep,
So
yep.
enjoy it. We'll talk to you again next week. That's Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry.
You're Larry.
I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson.
Okay, we'll see you next week.